Juggled the resources for this one. The Harlequins have got Melling named as fullback, Wells, Clubb, Howell and young Jamie O'Callaghan on the wing, Dawn and Orr. The forwards, Ward, Randall and McCarthy Scarsbrook, Tamata, Purdham, who's the skipper in the second row, and Maboo is the loose forward. And on the bench, Haggerty, Golden, Gale and Heckenberg, and the coach is Brian McDermott. Now Hull, it's Craig Hall at fullback, then they go Calderwood, Graham Horn, Yeaman and Briscoe, Richard Horn alongside Chris Thorman. Forwards, Dowes, Berrigan, Cusack, Manu, Tickle and the skipper Lee Radford. And on the bench, King, Houghton, Lee and Moa. The coach is Richard Agar. So Hull, they arrive here looking to get back on the tracks. They have made their best ever start to a Super League season, but they did lose last week at home to Castleford. Now they face a real test of character against this Harlequins team. Like Hull, the Quins have raised their game in 2009 in the most intense campaign of the summer era. But of course, in keeping with every other ground in the Rugby League this weekend, the two teams will emerge from the dressing room side by side here at the Stoop tonight, and we will observe a minute's silence in memory, of course, of Leon Walker, the young Wakefield forward who lost his life playing for the Wildcats reserve team in South Wales last Sunday. Now, the fans of both Wakefield and St Helens were impeccable last night on Sky Sports, and I'm sure they will be here and at all the other grounds where the game will be played tomorrow. Leon Walker was 20 years of age. He played for Salford, where he won the Academy Player of the Year award. Before joining Wakefield, he was a former England and Yorkshire Academy player, and he really did have a marvellous, wonderful future ahead of him. And the crowd here at the Twickenham Stoop will now stand for a minute and pay tribute to the life of a very talented young man. Leon Walker remembered here at the Twickenham Stoop. The referee is Richard Silverwood. It's our first glimpse of him this season. And Richard Silverwood is about to get this game underway. Now the heavens open just before the kick-off. It's been blustery showers all day here in London, and the pitch looking a little bit heavy. And I just wonder, Steve, whether that will have any real bearing on the outcome of this game.
Well, I think the Hull coach, Richard Agar, will be quite pleased with the fact that he knows he has the heavier forwards. A lot of emphasis will be placed on the two halfbacks. The battle between Luke Dawn, Danny Orr against Richard Horn and Chris Thorman should be exciting. But I think you just have to look at this very, very big Hull six, and it's going to be tough for the Harlequins to hold them.
Underneath the kick-off was Chris Thorman, and that's a great chase from the kick-off by the Harlequins defence. And the dummy half there for Hull was Berrigan, and this now is Lee Radford. You will notice, and I'm so pleased about this, and I'm sure every neutral is as well, that the Hull club and shirt manufacturer have done something about those numbers, and there should be no excuses for anyone in the ground tonight not to pick them out and identify them correctly. Well done to Hull FC.
I think you sense very early in this game that with that downpour, that's good defence. Tremendous stuff there by Purdham. Just making the point that it's quite wet out there. It'd be very slippy. did well to get that ball away under pressure.
He did, and it went underneath the foot of John Wells, who was named on the wing, but as has been the case throughout the course of this year, Wells operating at full back, and Chris Melling presumably then will be playing where Wells was named on the wing. Harlequins with injury problems. Rob Purdom, I understand, playing with an injection. So let's go down to Bill and get some news of all of that.
Yeah, it has been a few problems right up to the last minute for Brian McDermott, the Harlequins coach, just knowing who was going to be fit to play. And Rob Purdom maybe not 100% fit. The problem for Purdom is a back problem. Now, of course, he had that last year, and it caused him some discomfort. He's also had a rib problem. He's over that. It is the back problem that's concerned. But he really was forced to play because of Matt Gaffer's late withdrawal. He pulled a hamstring in training yesterday. David Williams was the logical replacement, but then he got injured as well in the same training session. So they really have been up against it, and thus Purdom is playing.
So they will be up against it in terms of numbers, the Harlequins, but they're playing here at home, and they have conceded just 28 penalties so far. Hull have conceded 30. So by virtue of that fact, these are the two best disciplined teams in the competition this year. At least they are the least penalised by the referees. This is Chris Thorman.
Kick it clear.
Big hoof downfield, that will skip off the wet turf, and Wells picks it up for Harlequins. Willie Manu was there, and so too was Kirk Yeaman.
Good kick as well by Chris Thorman. If you dissect the fullback and the winger, that always gives you that extra couple of yards to your kick and chase, and they got there pretty quickly.
Harlequins in possession deep in their own half, 8th in the table coming into the weekend with a game in hand. And this is Danny Orr, who has been inspirational for them this year alongside Luke Dawn. The dummy half is Chad Randall. Dawn gets to his feet eventually. Randall off the hands of Ward, and that was a knock on. Handling will be a problem tonight. Although, to be fair, I think Ward was supposed to be the dummy runner. He didn't really look interested, did he?
Well, he had his eyes away from the ball. Chad Randall was always trying to pull out John Wells, who would come in from the full-back position. You talk about the injury to Rob Purdom. The one thing that we've seen already in this game, that Purdom, first there for the kick and chase, first 2 tackles, is such an important cog in this game.
Purdom's a big factor for Quid today, but I think as
I think Martin Affire's microphone is just slightly, maybe with a little bit of water in it. We'll have a look at that. We'll get your first comment in a moment, Martin. Meanwhile, this is Hull, who are in possession.
I thought Martin's teeth had got just a little bit loose there at the moment, but we'll fix that.
Well, you've got the fixative. I'm sure you'll be able to
help him out
if necessary. Ewan Dow's to his feet. Was that a knock on? No.
Certainly looked it.
Here is Danny Tickle now for Hull. 1 from 4 goals against Castleford last week for Tickle. He's been in magnificent form with the boot up to that moment. Here's Manu, and they're working it wide here, Hull. That's Kirk Yeaman.
Did well to get numbers across there. Harlequins, they had to. One thing about the Quins this year, they're extremely fit.
Good kick from Thorman. Looking for Calderwood out on this near side, but dealt with competently enough in the end.
Good work by Jamie O'Callaghan.
Here is David Howell for Harlequins.
Late replacement, of course, Richard Agar, should I say. Alan is his father. And I must say that Richard, realising straight away, putting pressure on the youngster O'Callaghan. Took it well, though, didn't he?
He did indeed. Change of microphone. Let's hope it works, Martin.
Yeah, I was about to say that I believe that Quins are going to have to compete with the Hull side today in a war of attrition. The conditions are definitely suiting the Hull side, and I think that if Quins are going to make a fist of this game today, they're definitely going to have to grind the ball out, get to the kick, and put some pressure on this Hull side.
It's Craig Hall who will pick it up for Hull, the fullback. 21 years of age. He missed the first 2 of the season, but he's been fullback in every game since. Goes down under the tackle.
And a talented fullback as well, Craig Hall, though he looks very, very lazy when he's running, but he has the talent, that's for sure.
He suffered last week, though, against Castleford. On 3 occasions a high kick was put in, and it did cause problems for Craig Hall and the whole backfield defenders. I would be surprised if Harlequins don't use that ploy later on as the game progresses.
Danny Tickle for Hull. He was fed by Richard Horne. But Howell and Mabou and company are all in there to bring him down. Rob Purdon was the third tackler. That was Berrigan. And this now is a drive forward by Peter Cusack.
Just a little bit worried the way that the Quins, they're very slow to move up. You can see that Hull, they've got 4 to 5 metres to go through. That's a good kick. It's hit the post.
It is. It's a very good kick, picked up though by David Howell.
Eddie, Hull find themselves third in the league table almost a quarter way through the season without doing anything spectacular. They've got a great work ethic and enthusiasm in defence, and it's helping them to do the simple things so well.
Well, they've lost the ball. Harlequins too near their own line for comfort, really. This is Richard Horne. It was John Wells who came to the rescue for Harlequins as the ball hit the post, by the way, not David Howell. My apologies. This is Cusack now for Hull, who'll drive it in towards the line. They've got stacks of tackles left here as Berrigan gives it to Horne. Then it comes back this way. This is Ewan Dowes. It's scrambling defence here from Harlequins to try and keep him out. But look how close Hull are to that line. Berrigan, a pass over the head of Thorman, finds Willie Manu. Manu goes round one, can't get away from Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook. Berrigan scampers into dummy half for Hull. They'll play the ball to him. This is Thorman. Thorman trying to stab the kick in. That was off a Harlequins player, and it's back to 0 in the tackle count. Made a play for it. That's the view of Richard Silverwood. Here is Thorman. Now it's with Radford. It's intense pressure on this Harlequins line.
They're doing well, though. They're getting there in numbers.
And it's a penalty now. Hand on the ball. They're trying everything to slow Hull down if they can. Chad Randall.
Well, rather surprisingly, I can't believe that they're going to go for the 2. They've already applied so much pressure on the Quins' defence. I think a quick tap would have put even more and put them in a lot of trouble. I think it was Chad Randall that came up with the error. He had possession and then just lost it completely.
Well, Martin Afire said it would be a war of attrition. Maybe, Martin, the fact that they're taking this kick at goal, and Richard Agar probably happy with that. It means that they'll take whatever's on offer tonight.
Without a doubt. Danny Tickle been kicking well all season. I think I've said on Sunday nights he was been Bosca-esque in his kicking. I know that last week he let the side down with only slotted 1 goal in 4, but today if he gets a bit of confidence, and as Phil said, Hull have been doing nothing spectacular, just grinding out wins, a war of attrition. To be successful in rugby league you have to be relentless, and I think that's what Hull have been all season.
Danny Tickle then to add the first points of the evening with the left boot. No problems on that occasion for Danny Tickle. Hull FC have the lead by 2 points to 0.
Well, I suppose when the game comes to the tight end, the final quarter, no doubt Richard Agar will be pleased that he added those 2 points.
Danny.
And as you mentioned, it will lift the confidence of Danny Tickle.
In front of it.
They missed the chance, Hull, to go clear at the top of the table last Friday when they too lost their 100% start to the season against Castleford. A magnificent win it was at the KC Stadium for the Tigers. But they are unbeaten away from home this year, but they have never won here on this ground in 6 previous attempts. So they have some sort of monkey to get off their back tonight, to Hull.
2. Move, Chad. Hold. Go.
And that was Berrigan who got the ball away, found Craig Hall and Hall. He had the runner on his inside who was Lee Radford, and this is a good run from Berrigan.
Good work by the forward, safety first, make sure you get ground forward. That's what they're doing. Now they're getting it out wide.
Manu, Ward can't put him down. He gets the ball away also to Thorman. And this is Richard Horne.
5.
It's the last tackle here. And it's with Chris Thorman. And Thorman stabs it in behind the defence looking for Calderwood. Speed! Oh, and it just beat Calderwood. And O'Callaghan was happy enough. And I wonder if that's the monkey that Hull are looking to get off their backs tonight. Remember, they've never ever won on this ground. That's good play here though from Tony Clubb.
L1. Move. Hold. Go. That's 2. Move. Go.
Randall waits, and here is Danny Ward.
Watch Eddie when Danny Ward gets the ball. He's one of the best players at receiving it on the advantage line and rolling forward with his team. In fact, the players after it, you know, teams want to make improvements in the off-season. I think Harlequins have improved on their goal forward. Here, they get 6 more tackles.
They do, because the referee says the ball was stolen and then regathered by Chad Randall, so that's why he's wiped the tackle count down here. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook drives it in for Harlequins. Randall waiting once again at dummy half. Gets the ball infield and he finds Carl Tamata. This is his 70th game for the Quins and Brian McDermott. Carl Tamata, Randall at dummy half, gets the ball away. It's a test now of the whole defence, this.
Well, this is where the Quins are very dangerous. They know they put on the set pattern moves.
It's Dawn, and the ball inside to John Wells. He bounces off a couple more. Down he goes on the last tackle underneath the whole posts. Randall waits at dummy half again. He'll spin the ball to Danny Orr. Orr will put the kick in.
Too strong.
Far too strong.
Again, the idea was okay, but Danny Orr, it will not please Brian McDermott, though. At least it's the first real opportunity to apply pressure to this whole defence. Whole fans on that far side saying that the Quins weren't back the required 10. This is going to be a real mean struggle down the middle.
Yeaman will get to his feet, play the ball to Mark Calderwood. Mark Calderwood, he hasn't missed a game yet since his move from Wigan in the close season. Good tackle by Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook with Danny Ward. Berrigan. Good scampering run, but grounded on the last tackle. And Foreman waits 40 metres away from the Quins line. Richard Horn with a kick to the sideline. Nothing fancy from Richard Horn on that occasion.
Just a percentage kick, wasn't it, from Horn? Realised there was no one at home, just pull it through, and in these wet conditions the mistakes can be force the error. Did a fine job as this young coach, Richard Agard. And isn't it great to see this fella back, Richard Horn, back to his best. His combination this season with Chris Thorman, who came from the Huddersfield Giants, has been very, very pleasing indeed.
Yeah, I think Richard Horn has definitely benefited from Chris Thorman coming to the club. Chris Thorman does the nuts and bolts, gets the team around the park, and enables Richard to express himself and play like a true 6, a bit like a Tony Miner, and gets out there, and he's really benefited this season, and after last year's injuries has really kicked on.
Yes, he has. Both him and his brother Graham, with that hat-trick last week, have certainly been catching the eye this year. Richard Horn, actually, he has scored tries in each of his last 4 matches. Meanwhile, David Howell again for Harlequins. Randall once more at dummy half. 4 tackles gone, still inside their own half. They won't be now, because Dawn gets the kick away, but it bounces very kindly, that, for Craig Hall.
That was a poor kick from Luke Dawn. If you're going to go early in the tackle count, you've got to make sure that you pull it away from any player. Normally you look towards the wings because they don't drop back until it's the 5th and last tackle. And what does he do? He kicked it straight down the middle, straight into the arms of the full-back.
Sean Berrigan, substitute last week, finds Tom Briscoe.
He's a player, Eddie, that we're going to get excited over the rest of the season. Tom Briscoe has a massive future in the game. He reminds me very much of a young Paul Newlove. He's just got amazing strength for such a young man, and he's so difficult to put down.
Yes, a very exciting talent is Tom Briscoe, only 19 years of age. Yet another young and exciting talent in the Engage Super League this year. Here is Thorman. Puts that ball straight up in the air. Tickle is hunting it, and Tickle gets it. Gives the ball to Manu, who drops it promptly. And that's a chance gone for Hull, and Danny Orr to the rescue for Quins.
Well, they made a right meal of this, didn't he? John Wells allowing Tickle to take the ball and not get any away, and now they've given away a silly penalty. Holding down. No way in the world the official Richard Silverwood could give anything other than the penalty. Well, it's not the best kick, and again about 15 metres forward.
Safety first, maybe. Just want to make sure he gets it into touch, not make any mistake. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook again to the halfway line.
Move you in. Hold, go.
Now Joe Mabou for Harlequins, trying to go up the middle. Tickle stops him.
Be interesting to see whether Luke Dawn takes first receiver here.
Go. 3.
He does, from Randall, and he gives it to Purdom. Purdom tries to go round Cusack and also round Danny Tickle, can't do so, goes down on the 4th tackle. It's Danny Orr now. Danny Orr has got Danny Ward alongside him, but he couldn't
nearly
get
lost
the ball
it
to him.
5.
Tried to offload there, lost control, got it back in the end. It's got to be a good kick.
It's Luke Dawn, it's Purdom. Purdom off the left foot, it wasn't a good kick, and Graham Horn accepts the gift.
Well, there's one thing being fancy, there's another thing in just being constructive and making sure that that kick should have been right down towards the in-goal area.
Do you think it's possible, Mike, there's a hangover from last week's defeat here for Harlequins, losing by over 40 points? They don't seem to have the confidence that we've seen, or is that maybe a reflection of the conditions?
Well, I think it's been a turnaround in regard. I spoke to Brian McDermott before the game, and he said that it was a great football when they beat Warrington, but they tried to do exactly the same thing in the opening 10-15 minutes against Huddersfield, and they just got completely walloped.
I think you're absolutely right, Steve-O. I think in the game of rugby league, you have to do the honest yards every game. You can't have a hangover to the next week and just think we're going to carry on and play football. And I think that's what the Harlequins side did last week. And today, they're trying to be very patient and try and play Hull at their own game. But sooner or later, they're going to have to open this game up if they want to win it.
Harlequins in possession here, not the best play of the ball by young Jamie O'Callaghan.
Good play by the official Richard Silverwood as well. Okay, we know it could have penalised perhaps, but sometimes these officials can be a bit pedantic over that.
Well, the ball did go forward from the play of the ball.
I know it did go forward, but sometimes there's a little bit of interference, and then they've come up with another error.
Yes, Danny Orr this time couldn't get the ball at the second attempt. Here is Manu now, and he bounces away from Tony Clubb, but Clubb comes back, and with help from Tomato, he's brought down. Is the Tongan. This is Kirk Yeeman.
Well, it's becoming a problem now for Brian McDermott. That's the third real bad error early in the tackle count, and that makes you get more defence, tires you out.
Foot on it, Ewan.
Solid defence from Purdom to halt that raid by Richard Horn. Here goes Berrigan again. He kicks it down that line towards the corner. Oh, and Wells, well, he took the gamble and he came off because the ball did skim away from the chaser. Richard Agar is not happy about something, pointing something out to his coaching staff, wants that to be passed on to the players. He was very close, wasn't he?
Very casual indeed, wasn't he, John Wells? But they're the right tactics. Hull have got it absolutely spot on. Hard work in the forward, get themselves into a good position, and they're applying the pressure. And it's making Harlequins very difficult to get to the halfway line.
This is Danny Ward now for Harlequins. He'll try in each of his last 2 appearances for Danny Ward. And he's in his 2nd season at the Stoop. Randall keeping it alive with Joe Mabou. Randall again. And Carl Tomato, halted by Manu.
Nice flat pass running onto it, got good yards forward. It's a high one.
It is, but it's straight at Craig Hall, and Hall will start the counter. Good run from him too, great run from Craig Hall this. He's taking them all on, he's on his own. That's a great run, but he's in touch. He was slid into touch. Danny Orr getting patted on the back by all of his teammates. Harlequins offered him the touchline then.
And it was good play. Nice fancy footwork to get himself into position, but this is where you've got to start thinking. Hang on, I'm going towards a whitewash. Slippy conditions. Should have stepped back inside. Good work by Danny Orr. Good opportunity.
So Harlequins will have the head and feed at this scrum. The club is seeking its 90th home win in Super League tonight. They have only got a modest success rate in home games. It's 51% that they have won over the course of the Super League era. Good tackle by Willie Manu. Strong and robust in the tackle on Chris Melling. And again they stand firm against the raid from Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook. It is Randall who waits at dummy half. Midway through this first 40 minutes, Carlton Martin will drive it in once again for Harlequins. Manu doing a lot of work in the tackling. Maybe not long before Richard Agar gives him a breather. Danny Orr to Luke Dawn, and the call button behind him was from John Wells. Here is David Howell, and Howell gets the ball in field.
Nice work, Eddie, by the Hull inside defenders. Everyone working across, maintaining a good position.
There was nowhere for Heckenberg to run. Luke Dawn is chasing this kick. Cusack came to the rescue for Hull, right underneath his own post though, as you can see.
Good position by the prop forward there, but a lot better defence by the Quins as well.
Mark Calderwood gets the ball away. But Harlequins searching for the mistake in Hull's quarter, and Calderwood, no way forward for him. Great hit that was by Chad Randall. Daniel Heckenberg helping out as well. This is Paul King. They'll be delighted to see him back. He's missed the last 5 matches. Paul King back in the side. Oh dear me. Ballman was taken a little bit late then, but maybe he's asking the touch judge. Did you see that? It's a great kick under the circumstances.
What a kick, Eddie. That is superb, wasn't it? Under that pressure. On 2 occasions now he's been able to find land in between the fullback and winger, kicking back across the field towards that left-hand corner flag, and he's done it remarkably well.
I think we saw on the replay that there was nothing untoward. He committed himself towards Thorman.
Well, our cousins down under, Steve-O, in the NRL are really cracking down on that. Any contact at all on the kicker is penalised instantly by the referees down there. And I use the word referees because there are 2 of them out in the middle now.
That's right, but they're down there and we're up here.
Correct. Oh, that's a high shot from Tickle. That will be penalised.
Yeah, gave himself up as well. Realised he went over the top, stopped, looked to the official.
Look at the nice footwork. We just missed it there, but he changed direction before Danny Tickle got to him. Now, do you see then, all at sea, he had to throw the right arm high.
Yes, Jason Golden was caught high. Downstairs to Bill.
Eddie, Gareth Haggerty on the field for Harlequins. First appearance since he was crocked in the very early stages of the opening game of the season against Castleford. So he'll be relieved to get out there. I have to tell you, Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook was the man who came off, and he looked shattered. I think the conditions out there are deceptively tiring. The pitch is very tacky and heavy, and the conditions aren't helping them.
No, indeed, it's a winter's pitch this, but that's a knock-on by Harlequins. And Brian McDermott not impressed with the knock-on. A simple error at the play the ball. There it is.
Just lost control of it. Not Randall's fault at all. It's Boo that's just lost control. It's often frustrating for a coach, especially after you've had a good wallop in the week before.
Steve-O, people won't realise this and believe it, but we were looking at the rule book yesterday, and it says in the rule book that you can actually stand up and drop the ball and play it backwards with your heel.
Yeah,
drop or place the ball. Do you think that in the modern game, that if any player stood up and dropped the ball in front of him, that the referee wouldn't give a knock-on?
It would give the knock-on, it's as simple as that, but I was surprised, I'll put it that way.
Well, it's still there in the rules.
First, I was surprised that you had the rule book. Secondly, that you actually showed it to me. But I must say, the first 10 minutes, it was all Hull. And slowly but surely, the Harlequins have grown in confidence. They're a little bit shaky to start with in the first quarter. But now they've made a big impact.
Hull are finding it a lot harder now to make ground, and perhaps it's no coincidence. Lee Radford off the field, Peter Cusack off the field. They've made some very strong carries in the opening 10 minutes.
It's Hull in possession though. Paul King, he enjoyed a very lucrative benefit year in 2008.
And who did you see there? Rob Purdom yet again. He's already done 12 tackles in only just over 24 minutes. That's an amazing effort from a man who is admitted that he's not fully fit.
No, he isn't. He's playing with a pain-killing injection in a very painful back injury that he's suffering from at the moment. This is Wells.
Move, Chris. Go.
Randall gets the ball from dummy half, tries to get them going again.
If Brian McDermott could change anything, I'm sure he would like more people supporting the ball runner. Look, the last 2 charges, there haven't been many black jerseys around the man when he's carried the ball into contact.
Hold on.
And they're good tactics as well. Brian McDermott has sent the message out come square and flat. Good work by Randall on the blind side, but they're getting over the advantage line. This will be a bit too strong.
I think he was happy with that, Randall. He'll just let them start again on the 20-metre mark, and Brian McDermott's defence will line up 10 metres back, and they'll try and halt this raid from King. Brian McDermott's moved downstairs now, was watching from on high. Now he's in the thick of the action as Dowes drives it forward for Hull. 26 minutes gone, 2-0. Nothing in it. It's a battle. It's a forwards battle so far because of the conditions.
Yeah, the conditions have definitely meant this is a game of attrition, not a game for the lovers of open play, but definitely a game for the purists. And it is playing a little bit into Hull hands, but I think after last week's debacle against the Giants, Brian McDermott definitely wants his team to be in this game, and they are definitely in, only 2 points behind.
Well, the referee, first of all, seemed to wipe the tackle count clean here. No knock on. There was no knock on there.
Well, I never saw one. That went backwards, and that goes backwards. Well, an unusual decision by Richard Silva.
Nobody else did.
A referee is only as good as his touch judges, Eddie, and obviously where he was back 10 metres, he couldn't see the ball. You're reliant on the touch judge. It's a difficult job when that ball squirts free. You have to make an instant call. Was it reefed? Did the player drop it?
Maybe we need 2 referees.
No start, Martin.
Go.
27 minutes gone, 2-0. Harlequins won't be complaining about the decision. Hull might be. That's Haggerty.
And that just basic one pass, just drive through. Look, they've made nearly 30 metres.
Heckenberg is the man underneath all of that. He'll play it here to Randall. Now it's Danny Orr. And on the charge coming through is Jason Golden.
Move, Sean.
Signed from Wakefield in the closed season. Randall again. Wells was on his shoulder. He went straight into Willie Manu.
Wouldn't surprise me if Quins go for a power play rather than the kick.
And they do that. They do exactly that, and they're going to get the reward here. That's a tremendous try from Tony Clubb. Tony Clubb with the try, and Steve-O called it absolutely perfectly. They didn't go for the kick, they went for the power play on the last tackle. And the England international Tony Clubb, who played and scored a try for England as a substitute against Wales at Doncaster last year, has plundered the first try of the match here to give Harlequins the lead. He's been ever present. He was on the wing last week, and he came in off a wing position then to get that try. Harlequins ahead.
All came about from a knock-on that never existed as far as I'm concerned. Never mind that, Quins took full advantage, and you could see there they were just having a little bit of a rest on that blind side. Randall picked it absolutely superbly. They thought they'd done all the hard work at Hull, but Tony Clubb said, I'll take the 4. There's nowhere to hide on a rugby league football pitch, and I'm afraid Hull have suffered the circumstances. He's a big boy these days, Tony Clubb. He was never ever slim, but boy, he seems to have bulked up this season.
That try was a great example of how difficult it is to defend when the dummy half runs. You have to watch 2 things, Eddie. You have to watch the man with the ball in his hands, and you're then also tasked with the guy opposite you who you have the responsibility of stopping. If he changes direction and you haven't seen it, all of a sudden you can look lost and exposed.
Took a little nick off the post, but Danny Orr successful with the kick. It's 6-2 to Harlequins now.
And fully deserved, because they've been slowly but surely getting the upper hand. They were all at sea, as I say, in the first 15 minutes. But you've got to think quickly in this game, and certainly the hooker, Chad Randall, knew that this big fellow would be running outside of him, and he did exactly that.
He picked a great line, Tony Clubb, and very hard to tackle a big man when he comes off a great right foot step and just picks the line to the try line.
Luke Dawn's underneath the kick-off. It was a really deep kick-off from Hull, and maybe that will spark them into some sort of life. I must give a mention to Danny Orr. It's a knock-on here against Harlequins meanwhile. He got 10 goals from 10 attempts against Warrington here a couple of weeks ago. Scored 24 points, Danny Orr. But Luke Dawn, even though he picked up the kick-off behind his own line, there was nothing he could do about that. It was a bad loss by Gareth Haggerty.
Well, I think Graham Horn's leg came through, and
Just stabilise
it away.
from the tackle.
And now there's dissent apparently, and the referee has turned his decision from scrum down to a penalty. This is King.
Okay, Gareth, stand, move.
Brian McDermott will be furious over that. They've just taken the lead with a fine try.
Horn back on the inside, that's a good hit. Great hit by Haggerty. That makes up for the dissent and the mistake. Berrigan. Now Thomas Lee.
Will Berrigan go solo? He hasn't done it yet.
Well, you picked out what Chad Randall was going to do before. No, Berrigan goes against you this time. Short ball to Danny Tickle.
He held onto it well.
Penalty, says the referee. Stolen.
I think he lost the ball anyway, even before the tackle was made. It was a knock-on.
Yeah.
It was a knock-on.
I think you're right, Phil.
Play, Sean.
Even before the players hit the contact. Still, they're on the line here, 6 more tackles. Willie Manu is the go-to man, in my opinion. I think they'll swing it wide to the left.
Well, we're all trying to predict what's going to happen now. This is Ewan Dowes.
Go.
And they go left, they find Richard Horn, then they find Thorman. They don't find Manu. Instead, they find Yeaman, and Yeaman gets in for the try. You were spot on, Phil. They went left. They used Manu as a dummy runner, and Kirk Yeaman was the man on the end of the final pass. And Kirk Yeaman, he needs 2 tries now for 100 in his career. This is his 32nd consecutive appearance for Hull FC. The former Great Britain and England international, he might be another one who has eyes on Keith Senior's shirt in the England setup later this year. That was never, ever a penalty. It was a knock-on.
Right. It was a knock-on there. Danny Tickle had no control over it at all. Well, that's about squared it up, because Tony Clubb, the Harlequins, when he scored that try, they got the opportunity when the official gave a knock-on when it wasn't. That was a knock-on that wasn't given, and the dissent got the penalty, put them in this good position. Was well finished by Yeaman, but not the best defensive effort from the Quins. Good hands. They come out of the line. You've got to be squared on. You've got to be man marking. And they couldn't stop this fella Yeaman.
Yeaman with the try.
I don't know if we're going to get another shot at it, but it did look as if the Harlequin player had tackled the man before he actually got in possession of the ball. So I don't know whether the ref gave the penalty for that.
1,400 points for Danny Tickle in his career if he kicks this. 1 from 1. So at the moment he's on 1398. This for 1,400, and this would be a remarkable kick in these conditions if he gets it. And a milestone kick as well. Importantly, in the shape of tonight's game, it will give Hull the lead. Just went the wrong side of the post. 6 apiece.
Well, there's never going to be much between these two sides. I don't think it was a knock-on. It looked to me as though Graham Horn, the lazy leg, came away and dislodged the ball. There you see the leg there, just loses it. Now the rules state that you've got to roll away, and that wasn't rolling, that was rolling over the top. In fact, that could have been classified as a forward pass. It went right in front, it hit the Harlequin player before it even got to Tickle. And the Quins have got it back.
Yes, they have, from the short kick-off. It's a drive forward by Jason Golden. He'll play the ball to Randall. And here now is Heckenberg.
First, move. Hold.
Randall again controlling things from dummy half. The runner is Golden.
Move. Got it.
Randall once more. We'll give it to Haggerty, who'll drive it forward.
And
Good
again,
run, this.
that short, flat pass.
Good attack this, and it's Danny Orr. And Danny Orr goes for it himself and almost gets there. Nearly rolled his way over the line.
Cumberland throw is claiming from Richard Horn. It was a try-saver.
Purdon with the strength gets the ball away to Dawn. Dawn then gives the ball once again to Golden.
5.
Last tackle here for Harlequins.
Put some height on it.
Dawn, and this is Tamata. And Carl Tamata is pushing for the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Hull players there, and they stop him just short.
That'll be the turnover. They went for the power play themselves, but good defence by Hull. It had to be as well. But a great build-up there by the Harlequins. This short pass, you know, Chad Randall is controlling things out there. Getting the big forwards trundling over that advantage line.
These conditions, Eddie, tend to make it a night for close-range tries. We won't see, because of the nature of the surface and the weather, people going 80, 90 metres here to score. Hence the reason why you have to be on highest alert when defending near your own goal line. Richard Agar and Hull be relieved there to have seen off that threat.
It's like a little knock on there at the play the ball by Danny Tickle as well. But Thorman with the kick downfield will turn John Wells around. That's a great kick again from Thorman.
Certainly is. He went early, go on the fourth, and in these heavy conditions, why waste your energy from your forwards when you've got a kicking game like that and force them to get the error? Will they come up with it? Eager defence from Hull.
David Howell, and the ball to Rob Purdon, who is playing on through the pain barrier here tonight, no question of that. This is Luke Dawn. Howell again for Harlequins. Halted by solid Hull defence. Still midway inside their own half, Quins. Will they go early with the kick again? No, it's Heckenberg who drives the ball forward. It's remarkable, Harlequins, every time they get up and play the ball, they don't mess around. They have Randall at dummy half each and every tackle that's made. You see so many clubs these days, Steve-O, bringing different people in to dummy half and sharing that work around. Here, it's Randall who calls the shots.
Well, he knows that he's got this, a pack of forwards that will take that short, flat pass, and it's been effective. Okay, they were a little bit off the boil in the first 15 minutes, but they really have sorted everything out. And he's got the experience of Chad Randall.
And not only that, he plays each and every week. This is his 90th game. He's only missed one of 90 matches since making his debut in March 2006. So he's here, or wherever Harlequins are playing in the Super League, each and every week.
And he's made a pact to his coach and to his teammate, Chad Randall, that remember the intercept he gave to Amos Roberts. Oh, it's a good run from Tickle.
It is a great run from Tickle, but good scrambling defence from Harlequins.
The point that I was making, that he said he won't make a mistake like that ever again this season.
That's another kick in behind the defence for Calderwood to chase. The ball is palmed back,
well,
and
why
it's a
didn't
gift
he go
for Dawn.
Why did he knock it back? Why didn't he just go and try to take it?
Because it was a pass to the man on the inside. He thought the fullback had him covered. It was almost a 2v1 as he saw it. The fullback's there. If it went straight to Horn, he thought he was through past Wells. That was his thinking.
Well, I think he was thinking the wrong thing as far as I'm concerned.
2 minutes to half-time. 6-all here at the Twickenham Stoop as Heckenberg drives it forward again, met by Willie Manu. Also there was Paul King, number 19. Randall once again. Going to be sick and tired of saying that throughout the course of the night. This now is Jason Golden for Harlequins. There he is, Randall. 90th appearance for Harlequins tonight, as I said. And the kick downfield. But, well, Craig Hall was just a little bit shy of that for a moment. It allows O'Callaghan and company to move up quickly and bring him down. No progress made forward. Mark Calderwood again. This is Graham Horn.
Well, the stats will play a big part in this game, and when we look at them at half-time, we'll have to see which defence has had to get through the most work. Because this game, I feel sure, will be won in the final quarter.
That's Danny Houghton. Youngsters come on to add a bit of zip maybe around the play the ball. This is Manu. Through from one, through from two.
Such talent.
Great run from Manu, that. Tremendous run.
Been in great form as well.
23 clean breaks this year, Willie Manu. Another kick down the line looking for Calderwood. You can see where the tactics are here, but that's going to beat everybody. Well, you get the feeling it might come off for them at some stage during the course of this match.
Well, I think
Richard Agar hopes so.
Well, I think he'll be a little bit disappointed at the fact that Calderwood did not try to attempt to get that ball rather than try to pat it back. That's the ploy. That's what he's there for. Trying to get to it. Just a touch too long on that department.
I don't think there's a more enthusiastic chaser of kicks than Mark Calderwood in Super League. He loves it. It's his favourite play. That's the last play of the first half.